the question of the day. What's the difference between a 401k and an IRA? Do you guys have an IRA? But what is a 401k? What is an IRA? All right, so a 401k, let's get right into it. You guys are busy today. You got to get to work. Is it Wednesday? You guys got to get to work. And I got to get to work. I'm busy, but I love it. 401k is offered by your job. 401k was established in 1978. It's a relatively new product. It started being used more aggressively in 1981. I think Bank of Vermont or something started offering their employees. It is a tax code that's considered a defined contribution plan. Why is it defined? Because you, as the employee, define how much you want to put in. It's offered by your employer. So if your job says, hey, we, as a benefit to you, to attract you as an employee, want to give you a little incentive to stay with us, we're going to offer a 401k plan, which when you put some money in, we're going to put some money in with you, right? A lot of employers typically give between 3 and 6% salary match to your 401k. Now, we can talk about another episode about how the 401k replaced the pension plan, which was better for employees in a lot of ways, but it was worse for employers. The pension was the standard retirement plan, which was the employers put money aside for when you retire, they continue to pay you out for the rest of your life. They realized that was too risky. People were living too long. So, and they didn't know how much money to put aside, XYZ. Now, all of the risk for retirement is on you. That's why I encourage you to invest now, invest early. Time in the market is better than timing the market. So when you invest in your 401k, typically what you do is you put money in. And this year for 2026, the limit that you can put in your 401k is $24,500. All right, that you can take out of your paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, every month, and put up to $24,000. But hold your horses. Don't put that much in yet. I'll tell you why. Because your employer, the incentive here is your employer typically matches 3 to 6%. And now if you make hypothetically $100,000 and your employer has a 5% match, that means when you invest and when you put in 5% of your salary, $5,000 in your 401k, your employer is also going to put 5% of their contribution in there. So now for this year, you have $10,000 in your 401k. And then you're saying, okay, then so what, Dom? Okay, what's the big deal there? Well, now here's the goods and the bads. If you do a traditional 401k, you can put your pre-tax before they take the taxes out, $5,000. And then that's going to grow. Your employer puts all of their $5,000 pre-tax. So they're going to put their $5,000 out. That's going to grow. And when you retire at 55 and a half, I think is when you can start, or 65. I don't remember the exact ages. I can get it for you, but they might be subject to change later on like they did in France. When you retire, you will pay the taxes on that money at whatever that income bracket that you're in at that time. Now, if you're making a lot more money in your later years, you might pay higher taxes. So what's the downside to that? Well, you don't know where taxes are going to be later on in life. They might be higher. So if you save $1 million in your retirement and it was traditional 401k, and now you're in the 30% tax bracket when you're retiring because you've done some good financial savings and investing, well, you're paying, 30% high, but call it, 30, it's possible, but call it 30%, extreme example here. You're going to pay $300,000 in taxes. Woo! Nobody wants to pay that. So what is the other option? It's a Roth 401k. A Roth 401k works the same way. You put your money in, you choose an investment package. 401ks are managed by your employer. Remember that. That's important. Why? Because you don't have as much flexibility. Your employer typically pays a company, John Hancock, ADP, all these other, Vanguard, to offer you guys packages, typically mutual funds. You pay a little fee to manage that mutual fund, and you can pick one of those investment packages. Some are aggressive and some are less aggressive. If you're older, you go with the less aggressive. If you're younger, vibrant like myself, I go aggressive. I want to make money. I want to be paid. I'm an aggressive. But what they typically have is a target date fund. If you aren't invested in a target date fund, talk to your institutional manager about it. The target date fund says, I'm 35 years old. I'm going to retire at 65. I got 30 years of investing. I want to make $1 million in those 30 years out of my investment. What should I invest in to get there? That's the target date. You guys are aiming towards an investment goal for a certain date. Now, what I mentioned was the Roth 401k. The Roth 401k allows you to get paid. Your taxes come out of your salary and your paycheck normally, like they do. And after the taxes come out, then you put the money into your 401k. So if you make, let's call it $1,000 for this paycheck, they take your 20%, you got $800 left. And then out of that $800, you take whatever you want. Take $300, $400, whatever. That's a lot, but $200, doesn't matter. Put it in your 401k. Now that money's already taxed. It's post-tax, so it's growing. All the investment that's coming out of there is growing tax-free. That's a tax-advantaged plan, not a tax-deferred. The traditional one is tax-deferred. You're deferring taxes for the future. For Roth is tax-advantaged. Now, the good thing with that is later on, if you make $1 million, right? Now you don't have to pay any taxes on that. Obviously, it's going to take you longer to make that $1 million because you didn't invest as much up front before you were able to invest before taxes. Now you're going to invest after. Now, what's the difficulty with all of this? Well, because it's employee funded, and because there's so many regulations to it, the state, or really the federal government, doesn't really want you to touch this money. So there are penalties if you want to take out the money that you put in. Let's say I'm living high right now. I'm feeling good. I'm maxing out my 401k, $24,500 a year. And then life happens. I lose my car. I lose my job. There's all this paperwork that you got to do to try to get your money out, right? Like I got all this money sitting in my retirement account, but I'm living right now. Life is happening right now. So there are penalties that come with taking your money out early. And by the way, $24,500 is your traditional contribution. If you are 55 and older, there is something called a catch-up contribution. I'm not going to go over those specific limits because I want you to look it up because it depends on your age and the numbers are going to start to get convoluted. But there are catch-up contributions that you can add to that amount. But now, there are penalties that come with taking money out early. 10% penalty if you take it out before 65 and a half. 10% penalty if you take out your 401k early. There are ways to take out money out of your 401k, but you would have to borrow from your 401k. Now you got to go grovel to your HR. Please let me borrow some of my money. Please, I need it for tuition for my kids. Embarrassing. It's your money. You worked for it. Now they're controlling it. That's what I don't like. But that's fine. All right? Like that, because they don't want you to just go and spend it buying some new Gucci loafers. But all right, so that's that. That's the difficulty with it, that the money is not as accessible as you really want. They want to keep it in there for as long as possible to grow. Now, don't let me get cynical, but really 401ks are designed to make banks money. Sorry, I said it. These things are designed to make banks money, not you. They don't want you to really take it out. The truth is, they don't want you to take it out because these banks are making money while it's in there, right? Like while it's in there, they're making more money and they don't want you to touch it. Sorry. But you know what? That's just the system. Retirement has 3 pillars. It's of retirement. It's your 401k/IRA, Social Security, and your personal savings. Those 3 pillars of retirement. Oh, Don, what's an IRA? You talked about the 401k. What's the IRA? Well, what if you're not employed traditionally through a large company? Or what if your company is a small one that doesn't offer a 401k? Well, there's still an individual retirement account, IRA. And the IRA is similar to a 401k, but very different with different benefits. The IRA limit is much lower. You can, if you're self-employed, you can contribute to an IRA $7,500 a year. Now with the IRA, you don't need a account manager. You can do it yourself. Choose a brokerage account like Robinhood, which I use. You can contribute $7,500 a year to your IRA. Again, if you're 55 and over, there are catch-up contributions with your IRA. The same thing with the IRA is if you go with traditional IRA and you put money in, that money grows, right? Like let's say I get $1,000 from a client and I put that $1,000 tax before I pay my taxes on it in my IRA, that money's going to grow and I have to pay the taxes at my retirement. If I pay the taxes first, that's a Roth IRA. What's the benefit of an IRA versus a 401k and what's the downside? Well, the IRA, that's individual. That's you. There's nobody else giving you free money. There's no match. It's all by myself. Don't want to be all by yourself. Right? There's no contribution. Right. So now why would I do it why would I invest in my IRA? Well, because there's less regulation, folks. You can now invest not in just the mutual funds that your money manager is controlling your money. It's telling you you can invest in individual stocks. You can invest in ETFs. You can invest in more aggressive stuff. Right. There's more opportunities to invest. I like IRA investing, and it's a higher chance for success and failure. You can get more risky with it. And somebody like myself who has a high risk tolerance, I like that. But also, when you put the money in, let's say you put 2 years of investment in, $7,500, $7,000. I got $15,000 of my money in there. But next year, I go through hardship. I need to take my money out. I need it. Now, you don't have to go groveling to your HR and your money manager. Can I please borrow my own money? You can take it out yourself. You can take out the principal. You can take out the principal without able to manage the money. I have a SEP IRA and I'm able to manage the money much more directly. Exactly. Self-employed IRAs are easier to manage. You don't have to go and figure out who's going to allow you to do what. So when you're able to manage it, when you're able to take the money out, if you need the money to buy your first house, you need the money to medical bills, there are stipulations on ways you can take your money out without getting penalized. But the reality is, what's the strategy, Dom? Well, you can have your 401k and your IRA together. Here's what I recommend. Ask Dom that exclusive. I recommend that you start off making sure that you get your employer match. Whatever your employer is matching, and ask for more. Please, for the love of God, if you are getting paid by somebody to do a job, if you're getting paid by somebody to do a service, and you don't think you're getting paid enough, ask for more. I'm tired of people not asking for what they want. Ask for more. Hey, you're giving me 5%. Well, 5% is pretty good. But you give me 5% and I want 6. Oh, I can't give you 6. It doesn't matter what they're giving other people. Your relationship with your job has nothing to do with other people are getting paid. So, okay, I want 5%. Boom, your job gives you 5%. If you're making $100,000, now they're giving you $5,000 free cash. You do at least that. Then I don't say you continue to invest in your 401k. I have to really think about this more and more and more because it changes. But also fund your IRA. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Fund your IRA and your 401k simultaneously. Because if you leave that job, remember, you need to now transfer that 401k into another company. You need to into another vehicle. It's more convoluted. It's more complicated. And if God forbid you leave that job in the middle of a life emergency where you need access to that capital, it's just more complicated and convoluted. So if you start funding your IRA, you get some of the similar tax advantages and benefits, but it's more manageable. If you're not good with managing money, maybe the 401k is a better option because somebody is just managing it for you. You pay a 1% fee sometimes over every year for somebody to manage that money for you. People don't even realize that. But that fee is going towards those greedy bankers, those wealth investment managers. You're not even wealthy. Why do you need a wealth investment manager? Okay. So that's what I would do. I would focus on getting to your employer match. And then after you max out your employer match, start contributing to your IRA, your Roth. I recommend Roth IRAs because you don't know where taxes are going to be in the future. I recommend Roth 401ks. You don't know where taxes are going to be in the future. So I would just strictly say we might as well get the guaranteed right now, and then hopefully in the future, you don't have to worry about it anymore.